Back to Hannity. Now, last week we watched that President Barack Obama delivered his second inaugural address, which will probably be remembered as the most liberal speech of his entire left-wing political career. And as you know, it came at a time when his administration happens to be engaged in an all-out assault on the Second Amendment and the rights of law-abiding Americans. However, it seems that trampling on your right to keep and bear arms is simply not enough for this president. No, now he is setting his sights even higher. So what's his next target? The First Amendment, of course. According to the Anointed One, the reason why he's failed on the economy, failed to create jobs, failed to rein in radical extremism abroad is because some of us have dared to speak out against his agenda. Now, in an interview with the New Republic magazine, the president blames Fox News and Rush Limbaugh for the gridlock that exists in Washington, D.C. Here's what he said, quote, "I don't think the issue is whether or not there are people of goodwill in either party that want to get something done. I think what we really have to do is change some of the incentive structures so that people feel liberated to pursue some common ground. One of the biggest factors is going to be how the media shapes debates. If a Republican member of Congress is not punished on Fox News or by Rush Limbaugh for working with a Democrat on a bill of common interest, then you'll see more of them doing it. In other words, forget about that little thing called freedom of speech, differing views. Instead, he wants all opposing voices, to be silenced? Now, that includes the opinions that you hear on this program and watch every single night. But what the president fails to understand is that he is the reason why, in large part, Washington's divided. It's his rhetoric that is responsible for polarizing the country. And for the past 4 years, the Fox News Channel, frankly, has been the only media organization on this planet that has delivered fair and balanced coverage of his administration. That's why he doesn't like it. And while he's still busy bashing the First and Second Amendments of the Constitution, sorry, Mr. President, we're going to continue on this program to do our part to save America from your radical agenda. Sorry. Here with analysis, Fox News legal analyst Peter Johnson Jr., the co-host of The Five, now a nationally syndicated radio talk show host, Andrea Tinteris. By the way, we're going to run the tape of your partner, Jason Matera, later in the show.
Yes. Talk about tolerant politicians when you try and ask them questions. It's a perfect example.
Yeah, Mayor Bloomberg.
It goes exactly with what we're talking about tonight. You try and ask the mayor a question about will he disarm his security. Jason Matera asked him a simple question. He said, "I'll get back to you," with his big 5 bodyguards. And then they follow him down the street.
No, they're stalking.
Ask for his date of birth. Talk about bullies and stalkers. I mean, this is like the Gestapo, but they don't like any opposing points of view. Dare you question a liberal?
But for, help me here, Peter, but for Fox News and Rush Limbaugh, we have a perfect, and I'm not saying the president's a dictator, but wouldn't that be what we had?
Yeah, here's the problem, Sean. The president won the election, but he didn't win America. And so now he's taking on the Second Amendment big time, and mayors are going out across America to do this bidding and do this mission. And so we're going to see boycotts. We're going to see issues with regard to financing of firearms companies. Now the president is saying, listen, do it the way I do it, or I'm going to come down your pipe. Do it the way MSNBC does it. Do it the way of poodle journalists. Do it the way of faux journalists whose only mission in life is to suck up to the president of the United States, who get their talking points from the White House. Yeah. So to say, well, you know, what's happened here is we have an institutional barrier, according to the president, that stops the will of the people. Sean, do you know what the institutional barrier is? The United States Constitution. And so people at home should be afraid because they say, am I not allowed to watch Fox anymore? Am I not allowed to listen to Rush or Sean? Am I doing something that's un-American? In doing so, you're not.
Pretty amazing that those that are his critics seem to stick in his craw. I mean, he seems hypersensitive, that he can't really handle just a smidgen of criticism. From my perspective, he has a fawning media.
I think he's very insecure. I mean, if you look at any kind of interview that challenges him, our own Brett Baer did an interview with him. He asked him anything but a softball question, and the president bristles. That's why he failed in that debate, Sean, because he wasn't tested at all. It's a love fest every time that he's around. And look, if I were another media outlet today, I would be embarrassed. I would be ashamed, because if anyone else,
that's a great point.
If any other outlet presented both sides the way that Fox News does, that president of ours would have mentioned that news outlet, and he didn't. So the only two things standing in his way are that pesky #1, by the way, Fox News Channel and talk radio. And this is rules for radicals, right? Remember 2008? Get in your neighbor's face if they disagree with you. That's the next thing. Let's go after them. I think it's going to backfire, Sean, because half of America agrees with Fox News, agrees with talk radio, and they do think he's polarizing. They're smart. They get it.
I think they get it, too. When he ran the last time, all the comments that he made prior to the election, George Bush, credit card, Bank of China, name of our kids, it's irresponsible and patriotic. He gives us $6 trillion in debt, no scrutiny. He doesn't get asked a single question. Dirty air, dirty water, kids, Republicans...
No scrutiny, because there is, for the most part, a compliant, subservient, serving press corps that says, wow, this is historic. This is incredible. Look what you've done for us here, while at the same time the numbers plummet and our country's future is in doubt. This is an opportunity for a lot of Americans, and it's more than 50% of Americans, Sean, who say the First Amendment means something. Even though I may not like guns, they say the Second Amendment means something. So there's one strike on the First Amendment, there's two strikes on the Second Amendment. Third strike, are we out in this country?
I said media is dead in 2008. Now I say the media is basically an extension of the Obama press office.
State-run media. We have
media.
The Chinese praising President Obama for what he's doing on gun control. The Chinese, the communist Chinese, are praising him. Look, I agree with Peter. A majority of the country supports the Constitution while the president has contempt for it. In the minds of most Americans, it is, and the way that the Founding Fathers had it, it is government get out of the way of the citizens, but not with this administration. It is citizens, media, anyone who just wants to give the other side get out of the way of this government.
A politician complaining about the press is like a ship captain complaining about the sea. I can't stand it. Get off the ship.
And don't you think
that's what Fox News is supposed to do? That's what Limbaugh is supposed to do.
Right.
That's what Sean Hannity is supposed to do.
Right.
They're going to keep doing it in spite of it. Are you afraid?
No.
And it's a big distraction. That's what I think this is, too. You have the Muslim Brotherhood dominating. Al-Qaeda's on the run. He's trying to grab guns. It's all a big distraction. Look at all this other stuff. Look at, I'm going to define my enemies over here, while I'm not doing any of the stuff over there.
That's it. You know what? Not only are we going to continue, I'm hoping next time I get a mention. Mr. President, you did a lot in 2007 and 8, so come on. Let him attack away.
I have a feeling you may be next, Sean.
Oh, that's all right.
Well, watch that video of Jason Matera. We broke it exclusively on my radio show today. You guys got to stick around.
We don't allow enemies lists in America, Sean. There are no enemies lists in America.
Apparently there might be.
Land of the free.
Coming up next, he claims to have been a constitutional law professor before turning to politics, but Professor Obama just got a failing grade from a U.S. appeals court. We're going to tell you about the brazen presidential action that he took that the court is now calling illegal. And then, tonight...
See, look. We're getting followed. Ask Bloomberg a question, we get followed.
Jason Matera is harassed by the New York City mayor, Michael Bloomberg's security detail, after daring to ask a simple question if he would give up his gun detail. A shocking confrontation caught on tape. We'll play it for you tonight as Hannity returns.
This program is brought to you by